The Patriots and Raiders making it official. Oakland sending disgruntled yet talented wide receiver Randy Moss to New England for a fourth-round draft pick.
Randy Moss was still in his prime.
Got you in the pocket. Able to go long for Moss.
The greatest wide receiver talent of his lifetime.
Moss has his first touchdown as a Patriot.
Three guys around him.
When did you know this was going to be a little different? This is a different tool than you've ever had to work with.
Touchdown! Randy Moss!
Day one.
A bullet to Randy Moss.
We talk about an impact player. We talk about that player that you have to account for on every down.
Touchdown! Easy as pie on that one.
We probably overuse it because there's really only a handful of guys. Randy Moss is one of those guys. And the threat that he has on any given play to kill you deep, he's a true difference maker.
Brady for Moss. Going back through another touchdown.
He was just ridiculous. I mean, he set the record for touchdowns in a single season.
And Brady throwing for Moss. Goes up and gets it. Randy Moss.
This guy here changed the game in every aspect of changing the game.
That's the trade of the year, is it not? Randy Moss coming to the Patriots for a fourth-round
Trade of the century.
For the Patriots and the Cowboys. Only 3 undefeated teams remain. Indianapolis on a bye, but we've got Dallas and New England.
I have never seen anything like Randy Moss. He revolutionized the game of pro football.
To the end zone, touchdown. It's Moss.
Randy, I think Randy is the greatest deep threat receiver that we've ever seen.
Brady going deep for Moss.
He can high point the ball. They throw jump balls because he can jump 12 feet in there.
Oh, did he catch that touchdown? Stop it. That's why Randy Moss terrifies every defensive back in football. Just throw it up, fight for the football. That is strictly a case, I want it more than you do. Touchdown! Another spectacular catch by this incredible football player. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. I hope you have an appreciation for what you're watching here. These are mind-numbing numbers.
Randy was a freak of nature. He had great hands. He could run every route.
Touchdown, Randy Moss.
He was a freak athletically.
Build up for weeks, and now it finally arrives. New England and Indianapolis.
We've never had anyone in the history of football Randy's size and had Randy's speed.
Pulled down by Moss. Touchdown.
When he's in the middle of the field, in the danger zone, as I like to say, he's going out and he's snatching that ball.
What a catch. Moss reaches up into the sky and plucks it.
And the Patriots remain undefeated. The Patriots, without any argument, the best team in the National Football League. They come off a bye week. They are 9-0. They're averaging almost 40 points a game.
I think right now he's the best wide receiver in football.
Well, I think one thing we learned tonight is you still don't guard Randy Moss one-on-one.
Randy Moss attacks all 3 levels.
Has it. That's Randy Moss for 6 more.
If he gets off the jam, beats one, and catches the slant, he's out of there.
Randy Moss, who avoids a tackle and then works his way to the corner of the end zone for the touchdown.
But one thing I do remember about Randy is he loved the game.
2nd and 6, going to the end zone. Touchdown. That's 4 drives and 4 touchdowns.
Randy Moss was special, and I think corners found out real quick, hey man, they thought they were fast, he would blow right by them.
Caught by Moss for the touchdown. Randy Moss.
What gives you the confidence to go out and guarantee a win in a game like this?
The guys I'm playing with, we number 1 across the board, so
the prediction is that you will win.
Yeah, we're gonna win.
It's like he doesn't know who he's playing. Why poke the bear?
What makes him special is his height, his weight. You're not supposed to be able to run that fast. You're not supposed to be able to jump.
You know this man is driven. You know he looks for motivation.
Play action fake, Brady, a beautiful play action. Shooting it long and deep. Wide open, 20, 15, 10, 5, and he's into the end zone.
You think this will tick Brady off?
Yes, he looks for this. He's on the hunt constantly.
Remember Randy Moss went to see Tom Brady and the numbers he put up, astronomical numbers.
Wide open. Randy Moss. Touchdown, New England.
It is
the kickoff to the final week of the National Football League season, but of course, it is so much more than that. Only 4 quarters remain between the Patriots and football immortality.
Randy felt like there's no one in the NFL could run with him and play with him. That's the way he thought about the game.
Because no one
and
could.
no one could.
And Brady will throw for Moss. Touchdown, Patriots.
Randy Moss, did he not hit the ground running?
Randy is a freak of nature.
He was a freak of nature.
Moss, touchdown, Patriots.
Catches his 23rd touchdown on the same pass that Brady throws his 50th touchdown.
The significance of that number, 50 touchdown passes, the significance of what Randy Moss has done, 23 touchdown passes.
The Patriots 18-0 on the season. Trying for the second perfect season in NFL history.
You had scored the most points in NFL history at that point in time. Randy Moss has set an NFL record for receiving touchdowns.
The Patriots try to become the first team in National Football League history to go 19-0 as Super Bowl champions.
Randy Moss was undoubtedly one of the freakiest athletes that you ever have seen, and then you couple that with his speed and ability to just run routes.
And now the Patriots will have to come from behind here in the 4th quarter of this Super Bowl. Brady throws for Randy Moss, his second catch. You got to believe that if the Patriots are going to be able to have any kind of success moving the football, that Randy Moss is going to have to start having a bigger role.
He, to me, is the greatest receiver to ever have played the game.
Throws, Moss, touchdown! A methodical drive put together by the game's best. Patriots lead by 4. These two hooked up a record 23 times during the regular season, and now this to take a 4th quarter Super Bowl lead.
The best team that they had didn't win it, right? The best team is 18-1. Randy Moss, 23 touchdowns. Tom Brady, MVP.
The Patriots' season is over, unfulfilled at the end.
Guys remember Moss as just a deep threat, take the top off, but I mean, I played against him when he was running every route on the route tree.
He kept you up at night.
Oh yeah, one of the few guys that kept me up at night.
Touchdown! Randy Moss.
Because Randy, he wasn't just fast. Like, he didn't just have good hands. You don't get a guy who's 6'5", who has a wiry frame, who can high point the ball with the best of them. You don't get a guy with sweet feet like that can move in and out of his breaks. You don't get a guy that can pump fear in the best DBs in the game.
Randy Moss was going over the top. You know, the old, if he's even, he's leaving. That was Randy Moss. I mean, he was just gone.
These DBs were so scared that they would lift their toes up and already be rocking back on their heels because they want to get out of dodge, because they know Randy's coming.
And it's caught on the sideline for a touchdown. Randy Moss with 1 second to go.
Randy Moss is one of the most astute, intelligent football players. See, to get from great to Hall of Fame great, the difference is athleticism will make you great for a season, for 2, for 3, whatever. But you know what keeps you at Hall of Fame level? Is from the neck up, your intelligence, your football acumen. And people don't give him credit.
And it's Moss.
People will tell you that have played with him, one of the smartest football players that they've ever been around. Them blessed with that God-given athletic ability.
Moss has it at the goal line. Touchdown, New England.
3rd and 12, I'm throwing to Randy Moss.
An unexpected winter scene in Foxborough, Massachusetts for Tennessee and New England.
He had softer hands. His catch radius was better.
Back to Brady. Brady looking for Moss. Touchdown, Patriots.
That's a handful of guys who are an absolute freak on the field, as we said. Randy Moss, one of them.
Steps away from the hit, goes to the end zone. Football. There, touchdown, Patriots.
How about Randy Moss?
goes in the end zone, throws the arm up, and Tom Brady throws it across the field. Hooks up with Moss. Looked like 2007 again. Randy Moss can outrun the football. Not many can do that.
I've never seen anything like Randy Moss on a football field.
3rd and 1. Brady's looking that way. To Moss, and has another touchdown.
I was really, really impressed with Randy Moss.
What a stiff arm. Doing his best Jim Brown impersonation after making this catch. Got Randy Moss, and he could be off to the races. Randy Moss, touchdown.
Randy Moss runs great patterns, has great speed, and they make it look so easy. Playing quarterback is hard, getting open is hard.
Moss making the catch and going into the end zone. Antoine Bethea is right there, but Moss makes it look so easy.
Well, he was the most devastating deep threat I ever saw.
He was 6'4". He could run sub 4.3. He could have a 40-plus inch vertical.
By Randy Moss in the end zone, touchdown.
The fans in New England, they still revere Randy because of what he was able to do.
Hey, look at Randy! Look at Randy!
And Randy said in his speech, Coach Belichick challenged me. And remember, I told you, great players want to be coached. They want to be pushed.
That's a touchdown for Moss, his 3rd today, lunging in on a 17-yard strike.
We told you they had awakened a sleeping giant by being highly critical of Randy Moss, and boy, has he answered.
We're having a serious, honest discussion. Randy Moss might be the best receiver to ever play in the NFL.
Brady goes for the big ball. Moss! Right over Revis. Beat him this time.
Presenting Randy Moss for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
We are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. God bless and have a good night.